Hey guys, this episode of No Town Nerds is brought to you by the Crazy Squirrel Game Store. They're on 464 East Bullard Avenue in Fresno, California. They are graciously allowing us to record this episode in their game room. You should come check them out. This is Jen and Scott's awesome place that they run, and they've got an extensive selection of board, mini, card, and role-playing games. They've got almost 2,000 square feet of dedicated play space, and it's a pretty awesome spot. So come on, check it out. It's CrazySquirrelGameStore.com. Welcome to No Town Nerds, number 18. 18. It's been a year, guys. It's been a year since we've recorded.
Can't believe we kept track of how many episodes we have.
I had to go look it up. It's fine. I'm Matt.
I'm Eric.
I'm Nick.
And joining us, we have two new nerds. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm Denora. I was about to interrupt, so.
No, it's fine. I kind of stepped over you. You stepped over me. It's fine. Welcome to the podcast. This is what happens.
And I'm Richard.
Well, welcome, guys. So today we're talking about Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, everybody's very excited about Comic-Con.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. I don't know, there's this huge build-up every summer to, like, Comic-Con, and here we are a week later, and we're like, it's over it. We're waiting for the movies now, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't go, so I can't be, too excited about it. Luckily, someone that we do know did go. Denora? Tell us who you know that went.
Can we talk about 2 years ago? Or do you mean this year? Because I'm pretty sure there's Matt.
Wait, Matt went?
I think.
Well, we don't want to hear about that.
You don't want to hear my story, no. It was sort of like a last-minute thing. Like, I got a text from somebody that was like, hey, Comic-Con tickets go on sale tomorrow. Should we go? Like, yeah. So we had this, three-way, pact where, everybody had each other's login info and just got up early that morning and tried to get it. Little did I know, I was the only one that actually got up and tried to get tickets. The other guys both slept in, forgot about it. So,
they planned that around.
I'm sure they exactly did. Yeah. It's like, hey, Matt's responsible. Let's get him in on it.
He's already up at 1 a.m.
I'm glad your pact worked out.
Yes.
I'm really glad. Sometimes people tend to skimp on you.
No.
Yeah.
No. He's trying to say that I did not get him tickets. I had already promised 2 other people and myself tickets. So, we're not going to bring up 2 years ago. We're going to move on.
Okay.
Talk about your experience.
So, So, really going back, that ticket, acquisition period, whatever, the lottery, that's ridiculous. That whole setup of, you have to make your account, then you have to get into the lobby, then you have to wait forever for the lobby to close, which I didn't, realize. I thought, when you were in the lobby, once you were in, you were just waiting for your number to get called. So I sat at the computer for 3 hours waiting to get the notification to go buy the ticket, and I had started to fall asleep. So we're opening my eyes and looking, and a notice was up on the computer. So this mad scramble to go buy the tickets, and it's just high adrenaline moment where I feel like I'm doing some crazy hacking into the NSA moment where I gotta type in all my credit card info and these other guys' info. I do it all quick, and it's I'm just sitting quietly in my bedroom on a Saturday morning.
Your heart's racing.
Yeah. So
Pure adrenaline. Yeah.
So Comic-Con is pretty awesome. There's tons of people. Everyone there is on the same page as you. All super nerds. Everybody wants to go see their favorite show. They're dressed up as their characters. There's super obvious, everybody's in their Ghostbusters costume because that's a movie that just came out. And then there's these crazy mashups where there's just layer upon layer of multiple shows and things like that. So you really see the super fans. It's tons of fun. But my God, there's so many people. There are just people for days and days everywhere.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed and go to the mall, so I can't imagine that times 100. And probably it's probably hot.
Well, there's so many things you want to see, so many things you want to do. You're already trying to plan your day out. It's a little bit like Disneyland, if you imagine, of all the effort it takes to go to Disneyland, and then like you get in line and you're it's 75 minutes from this point to get on Splash Mountain. So then while you're standing there, you're like, well, what else will I have time to do? And then you're like getting your fast pass. Well, I can do this ride if I get this one out of the way. We can come over here at this time. So that's why I'm like, you're planning your whole day as to like, what panel can I make in later today? If I want to wait in line for 3 hours here, I can go wait in line for 2 hours over here.
I've done like 10, so.
I'm not talking about like Hall H. Like, okay, so we already made the decision to basically like we're gonna stay away from Hall H for the most part. That like in lieu of being able to see everything else, like we were just gonna miss out. Like that's just kind of like the decision that we made.
Should we explain what exactly Hall H is in case someone listening doesn't know what that is or what that entails?
Yeah. So Hall H is like the main venue for all of the big announcements. It holds like 7,000 people. It is just gigantic hall with tons and tons of people in it. There's almost like an equal amount of people inside as there are outside waiting in line still to get in. But that's where you're going to see all of the big panels of Marvel, DC, all the big movies are going to be there, TV shows. Except for this year, like shows like Game of Thrones, they had their sites or events off-site at other places, hotel ballrooms and things like that. So it was like you really couldn't even go and 100% commit to say, I'm going to be in Hall H all day and I'm going to see all these amazing things, because there were other big items that weren't even there, weren't even in Hall H.
Comic-Con badge accessible only, or was that just anyone that could show up?
It was all part of Comic-Con, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you had to have a badge to get in. There were a bunch of things like the Nerdist camp, or what they call it, Carnival or whatever, that like where you didn't need a badge to get in. It was open up to anybody, and so even those things had huge lines because you didn't need a badge. You have everybody that didn't want to spend all the money, that couldn't get into the lottery or whatever, able to go. But it was I don't know. There was too much. It was just too much to try and see and do it all as a first-time attendee of Comic-Con.
So this is your first time?
My first time to Comic-Con. Yeah, I've been with these guys to like WonderCon, which that already seemed like big, and like comparing the two, like I think I'd rather go to WonderCon again. It's much more manageable.
So it was a Thursday to Sunday. Did you go all 4 days, or did you just go for?
We went Friday and Saturday,
okay.
And just to be there. From when it opened to when it closed, essentially. Like, we spent a couple hours on the floor, being able to kind of like do the speed run to see what's there, and then taking another pass and going through and doing some shopping and things like that. Got to roll up on a couple of autograph signings so you could see like, oh, there's Sansa Stark in the distance, and what's his name, Agent Coulson, trying to make wisecracks about all the colorful people in line.
His right hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just, there was so, it's hard to put into words, like there was just so much there. There was so many random events and things like that. It was great. It was awesome, yeah. So that all said, I'm never going again.
You're never going again?
I'm never going to go again.
You don't feel the itch?
No, like it was so much effort to go down there. Like it was going to be like $1,000 for like a hotel for the couple days.
Had to wake up, put on pants, it became a thing.
Well, you didn't do Hall H, which is the main itch part of it.
Yeah.
If you don't go to Hall H, then you don't like get that whole like,
It's
let's
amazing.
go.
But we did go to a couple of events in Hall H that were pretty awesome. We made it into the preacher panel, and a bunch of the actors, I couldn't make it for whatever reason. They were going to do a live reading of the script for one of the episodes, and the actors couldn't make it. So Seth Rogen, one of the co-producers, got like Kevin Smith and a bunch of other people to come in, and I feel like the replacements were more fun than the actual
That's what's so
actors.
amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many people just walking around, and you'll get surprise moderators. Like Kevin Smith moderated a random DC panel when I went one year, so it's like it's awesome. You never know who's gonna pop up.
Yeah, I mean it's cool that like you go and look at the schedule. We kind of had it figured out by Saturday when it rolled around. So like we went to the Screen Junkies little venue that they had off site, and we saw that there was going to be a Family Guy panel later on that had all these actors in it. So we went to this what was supposed to be like a smaller panel earlier in the day, and we walked right in. There was no line. We just right in there, and it was still like Alex Bornstein and Mike Henry, voice actors from Family Guy, but. Yeah, we got right in. It was a much smaller venue. There was no line. It was easier, and we got probably the exact same show as we would have had to have waited maybe a couple hours to get to later in the day. But it's I don't know, like waiting in line. Like it's all that money to just go stand in line. I mean, it literally is like Disneyland, except you don't know how long it's going to take you to get in.
How much for tickets again?
It was like $55 a day.
Oh, a day?
Yeah.
I think you can get them if you get like a 4-day. It's like $180 now. It used to be like $150, and then it's increased steadily. a little bit more each year.
Yeah. I've always had the stance of like I didn't want to go to Comic-Con because it seems like a big hassle. To me, it's like a big hassle. But then like this year, I've changed my mind. I'm like, you know what? I need to go at least one time to check it out.
That was how I felt.
Yeah.
And the way it is now, it's definitely probably going to be an only one-time experience, even if you want to go back again.
It is hard. The tickets, just in the, I think I went, the first year I went was 2011, I want to say. And my friend just called me up and same thing, like, hey, Comic-Con tickets. Now, this was when you could still buy them on the site, like live, and they didn't sell out the day of. So she kind of just was like, hey, want to go? There's Friday tickets. And I was like, okay, went, had, just like we did a signing, met the True Blood cast. That was when the show was still good. And it was awesome. But every year since, it's gotten crazier and crazier. And I do Hall H, so I've camped out earlier and earlier and earlier every year. It's tough. it's definitely.
Always complained about mainstream, and though when it comes to Comic-Con, it truly was. Once Marvel started making movies, that's when all of a sudden you got the law system. Now you can't get tickets anywhere. That's when they got that draw of people coming in just for those things, and that's when things got pretty ridiculous. And I'm with you guys when it comes to WonderCon. And it being the same corporation, you think they'd kick down some stuff for WonderCon, but they don't, and it's kind of annoying, especially when you know that the more hardcore guys are there, and they deserve better than that.
Right. And I think if I ever went, I wouldn't want to go hang out in Hall H at all. I just want to go walk the floors. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see it online in like a week. Sure. Also, I'll podcast about it.
Yeah,
so
that's how I got up.
It really is
Online.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of vendors. I'm a big fan of artists.
Well, I mean, you go to Hall H and then you can't go to nothing.
Yeah.
You there.
You go there. That's it.
I've done it to where I've camped out. Like the last year I went was 2014, and that was insane. And I got there the earliest I got there was like 10:30 p.m. for the next day, and I didn't get out till 10 p.m. like that other day. So basically, I spent a 24-hour period waiting in line / sleeping for a little bit / moving in line to actually getting into Hall H. I will say though, once you get in, there's nothing like it. Like the sound system. I mean, you can see. Yeah. I'm assuming they showed clips.
Oh yeah, no, the whole thing was great in there. Yeah,
and the atmosphere of it.
My favorite part of Hall H is Pixar, because people clear out hardcore when Pixar comes in. You get to just run to the front and sit down in the front, and then get the next best thing that comes up after that. So.
Yeah, I mean I will say that like they have waiting in line. You know, they have you covered pretty well in terms of their shade structures outside, and they have like if you wait in line now, that they'll give you like wristbands, so you'll be able to get in the next day. But like you have to be there when the doors open in order to utilize that wristband. If you don't bring the wristband or you aren't there at the right time, it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. So they do have like I want to say the shade structure though, because on Friday it was like ungodly like hot and humid, and it was only like 82 degrees, but it was just so uncomfortable. And it's so funny to look back in like Fresno where it was like 100 degrees and I probably would have been fine, but out there with the humidity it was just terrible. So at least that they had these shade structures. Every time you left the building you had to wait in line, like the entire grassy area outside of Hall H, just all these huge canopies, and it's great that they had it there. Even like for Hall H, you imagine all this time that you wait in line. Once you actually get in there, you don't want to leave. So what do you do if you have to go to the bathroom, you need to eat or something? They actually have like their own concessions for Hall H. So you almost could come in and just stay. Once you make it in, you could just stay there the entire day and you'd be fine.
I've done that. Yeah. Like I brought food, I packed lunch, I've packed sandwiches. I have asked people to be like, I went by myself in the 2014. And basically I just made friends with the person next to me and was like, hey, can you watch my stuff? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I was like, okay, everyone's very, very friendly there, except for that one year that person got stabbed by a pencil, but you know. But
nerd rage.
Yeah. I think he stole a seat. So, but yeah. And then I had a system worked out to where after every panel ended, I would just get the number of the person next to me. I'd go watch my stuff. I'll get us better seats and like move up. So I basically was like, just call them up. Hey, I'm up at the front. I got to like the second row. So they would bring my stuff. All happy, yay. But yeah, you do have to have a system, and you do have to know like what you're getting into, because I've gone 1 year not having a system and came back and was exhausted. But I've done that all day, Hall H, and everything's amazing, and I totally love it, but it takes a toll.
Having a plan is what you need. You can't just go in there and be like, oh, I'm just gonna show up and have fun. Like, you can still have a good time. You can totally have a good time, but there's so much crap you're gonna miss out on. You know, I mean, I don't know. Just if we didn't go in,
you plan your fun.
yeah, plan your fun. Yes,
That sounds great.
The best kind.
yes, structured fun is the best fun. Yeah.
You'll miss out on the stuff like Eric are going to talk about.
Yeah.
All the boring stuff.
So, all right. So, speaking of the boring stuff, Richard, why don't you go and start us off?
Speaking of super boring stuff, welcome to E3 2. Because basically, E3 was last month, and so everyone knows what's going to happen already. They kind of unveiled everything. So video games didn't really have much to show when it comes to Comic-Con. Basically, for them, Comic-Con is basically the first place that people of the actual public get to play some of the games they're talking about. Because E3 is all about just the media now and actual companies. So this is the first chance to get to play. Some of the things that were out there actually were Nintendo. And one of the big things right now with Nintendo is Nintendo NES, the classic. They're bringing that in, and they were really happy to unveil that. They're really happy to set out those old controllers and have people come out there and play it. And that's pretty much what they do, is usually have a big zone on the floor, and then that's where people can go and play. There was a couple of panels, though. There was a Call of Duty panel, where it was usually mostly voice talent, which was kind of wasted because of the fact that they mostly talked about story, which I don't know if you guys play Call of Duty. I haven't heard of anyone who plays
Call of
the story,
Duty for the story?
the story anymore. So they just focused on the story. There wasn't really anything to talk about.
They didn't. Wait, hold on. They didn't have a bunch of 13-year-olds calling my mom. Like, that wasn't because that's exactly what my online gameplay is. So.
Yeah, it was all story focused, and it kind of makes for not really interesting panel, especially when you talk Call of Duty. What they did do was they did kind of reassure the public that the suits, yeah, not all, but the suits, which everyone called basically, the exosuits from the last couple of games of jumping around like Halo, they decided to kick that and be like, that is Halo, and let's go back to Call of Duty. That's what everyone seems to be excited about. They said that Zombies is making a return, which was a hugely popular subject, and the new storyline.
I can't believe that's just like not like a separate game at this point. That the Zombies isn't just its own brand. That like that, because that after it was a world at war with the Nazi zombies, like that should have come to the forefront, right?
Yeah, I think they shouldn't have a single player anymore. Like, no, who wants a single player when you got the zombies and you got the actual multiplayer? So it was a wasted kind of panel, but they gave you some storyline, which is basically we're in the future, even though we don't have exosuits, and they might actually go a little Star Wars in this. They might actually have space battles and dogfights. Maybe they let you have a
sword.
they let you have in Black Ops 3. They let you have the Soul Calibur sword. So you might get a Jedi sword at some point, depending on how gimmicky they want to go. But they have scenes of space battles that look very much like Star Wars. They have spacesuits as well that still kind of like you shift back and forth, but maybe multiplayer will be a little interesting. Maybe they'll have complete dogfight maps, and then they'll have space maps, and then you'll have the regular bare bones kind of maps, which might be pretty interesting. Do you guys ever play multiplayer? Or, I mean, you guys ever play the campaign at all? No one ever does. I don't think.
It's like a week. It's like when you first get it, you like check it out, and then you go over it. You know, it's like you'll want to finish a campaign enough to get the unlock, to get like a particular gun or achievement or something like that, and then you're just right on to the online.
And so that was Call of Duty, and the next one is Gears of War 4. Interesting fact: the last time I went to Comic-Con, that was when Gears of War 1 was premiering. And it was kind of cool to go on the showroom floor and they have that chainsaw gun, and that was and you never really got to see it until then because it was just a silhouette promo. It was just black with a red background, and you could kind of see what the gun was supposed to look like and kind of see what the character was supposed to look like. But so that was kind of a nice throwback. But same thing here. They really didn't talk much about anything other than storyline. It's going to take place about 10, 15 years ahead of a Gears of War 3. You're going to be playing as Phoenix, which was the main character for the first ones. You're going to play as his son, which is JD. And not only are you going to have the regular monsters for the hive, they're actually going to have humans you're going to be facing, which are going to be called the outsiders. So you might actually get, more importantly in the multiplayer, you might actually have a 3-team battle first time. You might have more humans versus humans and versus the hive enemy. Which is what, like I said, everyone cares about. No one cares about the storyline. No one cares about anything like that. So
I feel like the Gears of War was like the first one that really did like the horde like battles, like the waves where you'd be fighting. Like we were playing Gears of War 1 with you, Eric. Like we'd just be sitting there for hours just trying to see like how high could we get, how many waves could we go. But the
Level 4 rolled around and we
yeah. How high can we get wave like this? Wait, that's a different podcast. But yeah, like I don't know, like Gears of War, like where else could their story go at this point, right? Like
the world can only get so much deader. It can get so much more bleak, and that's where the outsiders come in. They're basically, not only are they trying to survive, now they're fighting with each other, trying to survive even more. So at some point, this world's not going to get better, and this world's just going to end, and it just gets bleaker and bleaker. And I don't know how much people want to play a game where it just doesn't get better.
you never win.
I
you
feel
just
like
do a
a
little
lot.
better.
Yeah, at least in the other games, you finish it, the new enemy is introduced in the second one. But no, it's the same people, the same enemy that you're fighting all the way through, and that gets kind of tedious to the point where you just want to just do multiplayer. Why not? And going back to the NES Classic, I don't know if you guys seen the game Lowdown. Does anyone know a game that they really wanted to have on there?
Is that the little system? The
little system,
Okay, yeah.
30 games only. They did say that you will not be able to download more.
Well, it's
That's
an
awesome.
emulator
Period.
with it's built-in game system. That's
Yeah.
it. There's no
It's
like
just all
cartridge
it
or
is.
anything.
It's 30. One of the ones I was really excited about, Legend of Zelda. The original Castlevania and Castlevania 2. Double Dragon 2, because no one gives a crap about Double Dragon 1. No one even knows there was a Double Dragon 1.
Like Street Fighter 1.
Yeah. it's all about that. They got classics like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and of course Tech Bowl, which is the original Tecmo Bowl, which is the original football game. And then what I'm really excited about was Final Fantasy. The original Final Fantasy 1
Final Fantasy 1?
is going to be available,
I played that one.
which I think would be a big draw for a lot of people. You play any of these games, Denora?
I played Final Fantasy X. That's where I started.
It's a good number. Good number.
It all sounds
Good
good.
solid number.
It all sounds good.
I started at 7, and I've never played 1, and I've heard 1 started at all. So I really want this thing just to play that.
Do you feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot at this point, where like you can't expand it? They're not going to have like Game Pack 2 that you could buy later on. They're like, here's this. It was 130 games, and that's it.
Well, to me, it's odd to launch this nostalgic console versus making a marketplace for like the U. Like to me, like PlayStation and Xbox, you're able to buy stuff from the original Xbox, your original PlayStation, to make your own console. It's kind of weird. Sega did it actually. Sega has a Genesis out, but that's warranted because Sega doesn't have anything anymore. So Nintendo probably did shoot themselves in the foot, maybe later on. But Nintendo is the master of marketing extra crap. So you might see a Classic 2 come out.
It's cheap too.
It's
like
cheap
$60.
too. $60.
So I feel like,
Buy 3.
well, yeah, and you got to think
I don't like starting.
like holiday season.
Oh.
I've seen retail when Nintendo is at #1, and it's quite scary. So they're thinking, okay, moms are gonna buy this for their kids. Because the kids are gonna like the retro games, and their older kids are gonna like the retro games. Their younger kids, and $60.
This is more for the casual player,
Yeah.
not like the hardcore gamer out there.
Exactly,
This
because
is
they're already gonna have the games on their newer systems. But I mean, for $60, you can get 30 games. That sounds good. So they're going for, again, they're all about casual gaming.
Yeah.
And they're going for that, and more hardcore gamers too. But
Because those games aren't easy.
no, exactly. I mean, they'll learn that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you can't go wrong with that.
There might already be marketing issues or licensing issues because Punch Out is no longer Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's now Punch Out. I think it was featuring like Mr. Sweet.
Oh,
So,
okay.
there may be some licensing issues when it comes to getting some of these games back and running.
I will say I ran into the main character from Punch Out. There was like somebody cosplaying as him. It's like the level of dedication to be running around like with those boxing gloves on the whole time and just kind of like back and forth.
Was he
like,
never facing you? Like just his back the whole time as he talks to
just
you?
always that rear profile there, yeah. But he had the boxing gloves on, like they were all tied on, ready to go. And I'm just like that level of commitment of like
you use the bathroom.
Exactly, yeah. It was like you got to have your buddy there to take care of you
Just
the whole
chasing
time.
fat people and punching you.
like really dress up for Comic-Con. This is kind of maybe going back a bit, but like that example as well as that big Rancor example that Judy Fisher saw that.
Yeah, it was a couple $1,000 somebody put into
Yeah, it was
that
like 2,000 something.
Yeah.
Now, do these people actually go to Comic-Con and go to the booths and actually have fun, or they're just there to like show off their costumes?
I saw a.
I assume that part of their fun is going there to show off the costumes.
Yeah, that's why I would do it.
Pictures. And
I'll say I saw a powdered toast man from Ren and Stimpy waiting in line to get a Power Rangers autograph.
Well, they can still.
The most
That's the coolest sentence you ever said for it, man.
I mean, like you can get a better Ghostbuster outfit. You can always get a better Ghostbuster. To me, when you go obscure, you go to that one, and you're going to be the only guy that wears that outfit. You did something right. Especially when you come to Comic-Con where there's like thousands and thousands of people, and you're the only guy who thought about doing that and did it well. You're doing something right, and you deserve that respect.
And the chances are you can run someone that knows who you actually are. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the cool part.
I mean, we've all seen cosplayers like all over the place or whatever, but like I feel like at Comic-Con, because of what it was, the level that it's at, there's a higher caliber, higher quality that's
expect
there.
it to be good.
Exactly, yeah. People put in a ton of money to it. Like there was a bunch of old ladies that were all maybe like 5 feet tall that all had like it looked like realistic beards. I swear to God, they really looked like it was just men in drag at that point, but they were all troll wives. And they're running around, and they were 100% in costume. And then, like, right behind them is all of the teaching staff from Hogwarts. It literally looked like the actors, like, in costume, all walking around, and they had their lines and everything where they were having these conversations like they were in this Muggle world to come to Comic-Con. Like, that's what it looked like. Like, it was, I don't know, it's just amazing to see, like, the detail that people put into some of these. I mean, that Rancor, I didn't get to see it, but, man, that was ridiculous. I can't imagine like
powered fans inside the suit.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I can't imagine
awesome.
like so. I was in t-shirt and shorts and comfortable clothes, and I was still uncomfortable to go and see people with all of these like. There was a guy dressed up as Iceman who had like even
Well, he's cool. So.
One outfit I would want.
He had like his eyelids were like painted, like he had contacts in, like it was just to look at him like that just looked so uncomfortable. Like you could see the War Boys from Fury Road, and they all had like this oval around their face where they'd sweated off the paint. So I mean, it's just you want to put in that effort to go and cosplay so hard, and then the weather's not meeting you halfway. Like if you aren't spending all your time inside on the floor somewhere, like you're just falling apart. Like I can't imagine these costumes are holding together at all.
Okay, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is everyone's favorite, Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go. There was so many unanswered questions. So there's so many, the mysteries of Mewtwo, the mysteries of the 3 legendary Pokemon, and at this panel they answered none of it. They said absolutely nothing. They were like maybe. They're like, are they gonna have special events to catch these Pokemon? I'm like maybe. There was absolutely nothing really given other than the fact that server issues will be fixed. Talking about trading again, that will be a function, and then they basically unveiled the names of the 3 leaders of the 3 teams, which I don't think people even cared about at all. Blanche and Spark, of course, for Instinct. Once again, the redheaded stepchild of the 3.
Hey, I'm yellow.
I know.
I'm yellow.
We know.
Yeah, I don't know about Android, but they did release an update today for the app for iOS. Yeah. So there's just a handful of remove footprints of nearby Pokemon and improve memory issues.
Change your avatar.
Yeah. I think the trading when that comes, that's going to be the game changer.
I see a marketplace opening up. I see people making quite a bit of money off of people.
Offering their services to be trainers.
To be trainers, yeah. Now you can order a specific Pokemon. I wonder how long they'll allow something like that to go, because it's got to eat into their profits as well. Like, no longer why would you spend $40 on Pokeballs when you can buy actual Pokemon you wanted? You know, like it's one of those things that like I wonder how long it would take them to do it. I wonder what kind of restrictions they'll place on it so that they can still make the money that they want to make. But so far they know they're the big thing right now, and there's no reason to unveil anything to people. You know, maybe when that interest starts going down, then they'll be like, okay, this is how you get Mewtwo.
Well, yeah, I think it was just a couple days ago, so it was announced that there's the second person in the United States to have caught all of them. Yeah, that like for how long the game is out, like you figure like a couple of them are international and a couple of them haven't been released yet, but all of the ones available, there's only like 2 people that have caught them all.
And I believe that's 149.
Yeah, they're not excluding they're not including the legendary.
I think it's 142.
142.
Yeah, so 6 haven't been released and 2 are international.
Meanwhile, I just got a Pidgey.
You got a Mankey earlier.
And a
I already had one of those though.
Expectations.
Haven't caught them all,
But I
honestly.
think they're going to have those world events. I mean, it's in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what they wanted, and like so you think Comic-Con might have been like one of these things.
Yeah, there was these rumors
you
for
think
that.
they would be like, oh, since you got to come here, you got to come to this panel. Now here's a Mewtwo or something. Like no, like they really left you hanging. It's like they kind of know
Here's
like
Magic Card. Yeah.
they're like
Keep playing the game.
we own you, and we don't have to tell you anything. You know you're good
It is
to go.
super new, too.
true.
So maybe, and I know that everyone probably thought this is going to do well, but it's done really well. So exactly. I mean, you look at the expectations. It's what the #1 app in the
world, I think.
world.
With
I
little
think?
effort,
In
it's
the
the number
universe.
1.
Yeah, and like this is when the base product. So they
Yeah.
probably don't even know. And
Look at
they're-
how crappy the service has been. How many times it's
Yeah,
crashed and forced you to
exactly.
log out and log in. You couldn't log in,
They
and it's
announced
still
it's gonna be
number
better.
1. It's still number
Exactly.
1.
My crazy story about it is like going out late at night. Like I stay up late. I go late at night, like around midnight, and I go to like a nearby park, and there are dozens of people out there, and it's midnight. These people shouldn't be out there. It's like it's kind of crazy. Yeah,
The park's
I know.
closed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
What are you doing here?
I'm breaking the law. You should not be breaking the law. But I mean,
Did you see the warnings that they just installed as a new update?
No, what
Do not trespass while playing Pokemon Go. Do not drive while playing Pokemon Go. And there's another one.
tell them what to do, Pokemon.
How are you supposed to? How are you supposed to play then? I don't
Do not
understand.
podcast while
How am I
playing
supposed to
Pokemon
achieve?
Go.
I mean, how am I supposed to play the game?
Don't encourage us by throwing out Pokemon as we drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I go 55 miles an hour, then you shouldn't have Pokemon popping up on the screen.
How many accidents I've gotten to? 3.
Yeah.
I've gotten 3 accidents so far.
So you may have seen that there was a crazy big fire in LA during the weekend of Comic-Con in
Yeah.
Santa Clarita. So trying to come back, traffic was ridiculous all along Interstate 5, like from San Diego all the way into LA. It was just terrible because traffic was getting intermittently stopped or whatever. But at some points we were going so slow that all of us in the car were able to play Pokemon. That like you're just going so slow that
There's a
like
warning
I'm just
that says they can't.
hey, I had the app up, it's on my dash mount. I had it there, and I figure
reaching over
I hatched an egg while we were sitting in traffic. That's how slow we were going. You just had the app up, and you just see your little trainer walking along. That I didn't even need to do anything, and
Worked out for you then.
yeah. So
Pokemon
for me,
shouldn't appear on freeways. There,
they shouldn't.
even here in Fresno, there was a clear case of 3 fully level 3 Pokemon out there on 99. Like not next to it, on the actual 99 itself. And they wanted me to hop a fence and go to the 99 to catch these things. That's.
I mean, I
ill-planned.
did it, but
I get cemeteries.
I don't regret
I get that like
Yeah.
I accidentally let these plaques show up in there, but there's no reason for you to have Pokemon on freeways and then say don't walk on this freeway.
yeah, it's one thing that like it randomly generates somewhere, but I feel like. I don't know, the freeway I could argue more than the Holocaust Museum being a Pokestop. Like that kind of stuff, there should be a way to
Not even touching that one.
yeah, there should be a way to lobby to like cemeteries and certain museums like that be removed from it. But there was something I think just from last night that there was a guy getting crazy on a bunch of people that were in it was like a veterans memorial park playing Pokemon, but the guy was like upset that they were in the park. It's not the Holocaust Museum by any means, but it's still a park, and I don't know, like there needs to be I think a better way in game to be able to remove some of these stops. If
I think
you're
they just released it.
Yeah.
Or they just said if you want to have your place removed from Pokestops or whatever,
Which
you
is
can submit
good.
there's
to-
a way to do that now. Yeah.
Also-
There's been a couple houses.
Yeah.
And
I think people need to actually be smart. Like
Yeah.
we're putting all this like the game, it shouldn't be on the highway.
You
People
shouldn't go to a
be-
cemetery.
You shouldn't be going to a cemetery at midnight because there's a Pokemon there. You shouldn't be going on there. That is
If
true.
it's a guessy, I'm going down there.
Yeah.
But like on the freeway, like Like, just let it go. Like, yeah, there might be a Pokemon on that freeway, but is it worth your life? Is it worth an
Well,
accident?
you've got to catch them all.
Yeah,
It's in the title.
But I do think the app does need, and it's good that they're adjusting.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
So, yeah.
when it comes to like you know the memorials and like you know the Holocaust thing, like how long do you expect a 12-year-old to watch their grandpa cry? Like they need to do something while while they're there.
So anyway, so getting back to
Yeah.
Comic-Con, there were Pokestops everywhere, all over the place. There's tons of statues and plaques and things like that, whatever. But
appropriate places.
exactly every one of them had a lure active the entire time. So you would imagine that any restaurant or anybody, it was in their best interest to spend the money just to get people to come in. But anywhere we stopped, like we're waiting in line or we're at lunch or whatever, every place had a lure going, and we were just catching them nonstop. But like the only like a unique, interesting ones that we caught were once we got close to the water and all the water types showed up. That being in landlocked Fresno, we don't get too many of those around
seal.
here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I got a seal.
Okay.
I felt like it was an error.
Yeah. But everywhere we went, you looked at everybody's phone, everybody was playing it. And they actually had inside the convention center, I don't know if this is there all the time or not, but they had little battery packs that you could buy.
They started adding those.
Yeah, so once you use those up, you could go and return it and get another one.
awesome.
And so, like whatever company put those in, like they had to just been making
Oh my
tons of
gosh,
money
yeah.
just because of Pokemon Go. Yeah.
And wasn't the Pokemon like pub crawl at Comic-Con like one of the biggest events that happened?
There was a Pokemon pub crawl?
I read there was like over 2,000 people.
How did I miss that?
No one
Yeah.
told that.
Yeah. I need to go follow that Twitter.
You could have caught them all.
Yeah.
Had a buzz.
Yeah. The one here in town was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
There
that
was tons
was
of people.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like Mardi Gras.
Yeah. They I think the zombie crawl came back this year too for San Diego. So there's a couple of events out there that, trying to exit Comic-Con at night once like everybody was leaving the floor. It was just tons and tons of people.
There has to be no pub in those crawls. Because there's no, you can't tell me these people are like randomly walking to a bar and getting in. This is like walk down the street crawl.
Yeah.
So this is all that.
So you got to imagine if you think of the convention centers on the water, so it goes like the water, convention center, and then the Gaslamp district. And as you walk away from the convention center, the lines get lower and lower, and then they start to get longer and longer again. So there's like this middle ground somewhere where the conventioners haven't made it yet, but the actual regular Saturday night nightlife in San Diego won't get close to. So there's this nice DMZ in the middle where we're able to walk right in. We're able to walk right into a bar without having to wait in line. But anything that was close to Comic-Con was just a crazy line all day. And we went to like a pizza place, and it took I think almost 2 hours just to get like a regular pizza, like nothing fancy. There's just so many people. It's insane. It's you almost have to just pack your lunches and maybe pack your own booze too. Yeah.
Yep.
Pro tip.
Yeah. So, all right, Eric, what happened comic-wise? Do they have comics at Comic-Con?
There are still some comic news at Comic-Con. I know it seems weird, you guys, but there's still a little bit of comic news. A lot of the comic news actually is kind of like mainly just tied in with like TV and movie news, because it's like, this because of this TV show, sales are going really well. Like I know for sure trade paperbacks of Preacher are going and selling really well. Also, The Walking Dead's a big thing too. Like of course because they have these new TV shows, sparks interest in comic books when people come in. So.
I
But
saw a Carl. There was a kid dressed up like a little sweaty.
Did he have an eye patch?
Carl. He didn't have an eye patch. But he had the little cowboy hat and all that. But
That's cool.
but it's so funny. Like you think of like Carl from the show with his crazy long shaggy hair.
Yeah.
It's always super humid. In Atlanta where they are. Well, it was super humid and uncomfortable at
all makes
Comic-Con.
sense.
So he was already sweaty. So it just added an extra level to his cosplay.
Nice.
the big stuff is DC Rebirth.
Again.
Yeah, Rebirth again. It's selling insanely well. I think they're hitting record numbers and reprinting issues like as fast as they can. I think they're already up to like the 4th edition of printings on number ones, the first number ones, not second number ones. It's really confusing. So, but that's happening. The big thing for Marvel right now is Civil War and Civil War 2, and the fallout and aftermath of that when it happens eventually after the series. And then they're going to start Marvel Now, which is starts in October. And they're probably gonna do a lot more number ones. I believe it's up to 36 number one issues for Marvel.
So stupid.
It's how they're setting it up. They're setting it up like TV shows, like seasons. So if you want to watch, like collect one whole section of books, and they're not doing long format numbers anymore. You're not gonna get X-Men number 395. It's gonna be X-Men number go to like
So
30.
are they gonna label it like if you said it's like seasons, they're gonna label it?
No, they're
have
not
some
going to.
sort
I
of
mean, they're not going to. I
categorization?
mean, you probably just go by creators. So it'll be like X-Men. Like right now, they have like all like Extraordinary X-Men, and they'll probably have several volumes of that. And then when they go into Marvel now, or whenever they do that again, it'll probably just
But how will people be able to differentiate number ones?
um
By the
mean,
cover art?
essentially. Yeah. I mean, it's just like by date. Like there's all that too. So you just gotta know what you're looking for when you go in there.
They should just say
I know it's
season
really
or
confusing,
something.
but I mean that's
or volume.
like their new. That's like their new like.
The other number one's not going to be in there when you go in there.
Right,
that day.
yeah, it's gonna be another-
it's going to be
Sounds
gone.
dumb.
It'll be like a trade paperback that you can
Yeah.
get. So, I mean, some people get frustrated by that because I mean they
Frustrating.
went through it again like earlier. What was it last year? After the whole Battle World, Secret Wars, and then they had to get a whole bunch of number ones. Now they rebooted the universe again.
Secret Wars
Now they're
2.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's frustrating, but I kind of like it more than.
Are they trying to? Does it seem like they're trying to change it so that people who are watch a movie want to do comics? Then now they feel like they're a part of it because it's a number one that they're looking
Kind
at.
of, yeah. I think it's more of a effort to get people. Not it's like say if you go to a comic store, you become overwhelmed because there's so many stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. They're trying to make it easier for you to just jump in and be like, okay, and start over again. Yeah, instead of having decades of history of like trying to figure out what's going on, it's kind of make it a little bit easier for you to get in there. More,
Is that like so the rebirth thing? I mean, is it happening more frequently then
I mean,
because of that?
maybe it's getting a little more frequent every year. Or, I mean, every couple of years.
Trying to get new people.
Because the New
into
52
it?
lasted probably how long did that last? About a couple of years.
The DC one?
Yeah.
Well, that was the last one.
So I think it lasted at least like 5 or 6 years, right? The 52.
Enough to make several cartoons off of it.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
brand new
like that,
52
so-
lasted that one, and now since then they're doing the rebirth. Now I think they're a couple, like, probably like 3 or 4 issues into every season, and they're gonna be releasing more throughout the year.
Are they changing origins to match movies more?
They're definitely changing stuff around. I don't know necessarily the movies, but they're changing, like they're introducing, like say the Flash, for example, like they're introducing Wally West, who hasn't been hasn't been the new 52 yet, or has not been the new 52. Now they introduced him in the new series. Probably more in line to go to the TV show. They even go to Jitters at one point, the coffee shop. Wow. Yeah. So I mean, they just show like the outside, the front, and outside.
Yeah.
And with every reboot, the more diverse.
Yeah.
cast
There's that
gets.
too. Yeah. Then there's more diversity in comics, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's more female writers and artists, and female artists and writer teams. And
So is there going to be a white Black Panther?
Matt, that's racist.
Black Panther's not racist.
You can't
but
make
a
that
white
joke.
Black Panther.
You can't make that joke.
That's getting a little bit.
Yeah, go back to the Veterans Memorial.
But then, so yeah, I mean, that's things like that. A lot of introducing stuff like new or characters from TV shows. Just a lot of overlap on that stuff. So with that, there's a lot of TV news. Yes.
Yeah. So I really like Supergirl, and I wasn't there, but I listened to.
You're gonna open
all
with
the-
Supergirl, huh?
I think
that's
so. I think
where we're gonna set
Supergirl
the
is
bar
one
for
of-
this.
It's a
I
charming
think,
show.
Yeah, it's a really great show, and I will fight for it. And for this is the thing, for a network television show, this was originally on CBS. Like CBS is full of crap.
High ratings, crap.
I know the CBS ratings are bad. But Supergirl, to me, it was just like, it's very, very close to The Flash, and that is absolutely positive, absolutely charming.
It's all the same writers, though, isn't it?
I don't think
Or
so.
a lot of same writers?
I don't think so. But I think it's mostly all women writing the show, and it's always focused on like the women relationships. And what's that one women's test, like the Bechdel test?
Bechdel
Yeah, this one
test?
passes all the time. Every 2 minutes it passes.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. Like, anyways, the Comic-Con big news from Supergirl. Since Supergirl is now moving to the CW, they have confirmed that there will be crossovers across all 4 shows. And I haven't really seen Legends of Tomorrow, so I don't really know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't know how they're going to cross over there. I don't know anything about it. Because
Well,
isn't it
it's all
like the
about-
future and the past?
Well, it's all about time travels. They could pretty much make it.
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of jumping ahead, but The Flash, spoiler alert, does that matter?
You've announced it. There's a spoiler alert. Okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Current season or future season?
Future seasons that impact the
Both.
entire. Yeah.
Time travel.
Time travel.
Time travel.
Idealistic schism. They're bringing in the Flashpoint paradox into the entire TV DC universe. I'm playing Pokemon Go right now, but And I think that is a convenient way for them to introduce Supergirl into the CW universe. The other announcement was Chris Woods was in the pod at the very end of the last Supergirl episode. A mysterious pod from
The Phantom Zone.
they haven't. I guess they haven't
I'm
really
just making
revealed
things up. I
it.
don't know.
We established that Matt doesn't watch it.
Yeah,
I just watched the first episode and then
it
I
crash landed on what the fuck is their city's name?
Metropolis.
No, Supergirl.
That was on Metropolis. I don't remember.
Oh no, it's not Star City. So
That's
Flash.
Flash. Well, anyway, it crash landed there,
Metro
and then
City?
it ended with her, Supergirl, saying, "Oh God," like in a surprise kind of way. The rumor is that maybe you guys can help out. Anyone? Mon-El or Hell? Hell?
I'm assuming if it's Superman related.
Yeah, he's gonna be
related,
like,
it's Will.
L.
Yeah.
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 I'm
It's
just
going
gonna
to be a
assume.
Kryptonian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm assuming as well. They didn't confirm this as another little tidbit, but this is probably bad of me. I guess a lot of the cast came from like Glee and from Broadway and stuff, so there are talks for a possible musical episode
I'm on board
for that
Yeah.
as well as Flash. So I'm really, really
Are they gonna
happy.
bring in guest director Joss Whedon?
It worked for Buffy. It worked for Buffy.
Yeah, if
That was a
Buffy can
great
do it.
episode.
But it worked for Buffy because of Joss Whedon, I believe.
And you know what? If you have a time paradox, I mean, he can just stop and be like, all of a sudden everyone's singing and he has
Now
to
there's
run
multiple
again.
Earths.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a multiverse. They can do whatever they want. There could be a singing universe.
No. A big reason to time travel is to fix things. Is there something that they're
everyone
trying to fix? Is it what are they trying to fix in these TV shows? Do you think?
I don't know.
Or just introducing Spider?
I think
gonna be
introducing
somebody's-
crossovers.
Crossovers.
Because you're
Yeah.
saying,
For
like,
time travel.
You
Yeah.
know, Supergirl.
That makes it easy, or
Well,
you can just go back. And
Supergirl was
forward.
always there, kind of
Flash.
thing.
All along.
Yeah. I mean, Flash did appear in Supergirl that one episode, but that's because he was traveling through universes.
Multiverse.
Duh.
Yeah.
It's fair.
But I mean, for the CW shows, DC shows,
Yeah.
they're great. I mean, even if you dislike one of the shows, you probably find another show that you do like, and they have so many now.
Yeah.
And they keep introducing new characters. You keep introducing new shows, like the end of the end of Legends of Tomorrow. They kind of introduce just Society of America, which that could be a whole nother TV show if they really wanted to. And they can start introducing new characters from that in season 2.
Yeah.
They can start introducing new characters from there. So I mean, potentially they could have a whole nother show on their hands if they really want to. So you can have Monday through Friday DC shows,
Yeah.
like every day.
And still be better than all the movies.
One of my main problems with like Marvel's TV shows, like Shields, basically, you have such a rich,
You have a problem with Shield?
yeah, such a rich background of minor characters with not really much special effect costs that you can use all the time, but you don't. And it'd be cool to see, this society come up and like now we have other people you can use that like people will recognize, people would want to look up, and I'm glad DC is doing that right. It's like we have so many minor characters that we can just throw in here and people will appreciate it versus making up your own thing for some reason.
I think it's also kind of a safety move for them because they're afraid that all the hardcore like comic book nerds are going to say, no, that's not how this character is supposed to be. And they have free reign to do whatever they want with it. And I think that's a win for everyone. They're constantly using these minor characters. Speaking of minor characters, Tom Felton was in the panel for The Flash to play Julian Dorn. Does anyone know who that is? No.
Lucius Malfoy.
He's probably
Yeah.
from the future.
But today?
He's gonna be someone's dad.
He's going to
Yeah.
be a Paradox character.
But he did hint that he is going to play a bad guy to the Flash. Oh no, I think it was Dr. Alchemy. Okay, it's supposed to be Dr. Alchemy. But he didn't say he was, obviously, and it's kind of a nod to all the Harry Potter stuff. He's like, of course, I'm always playing a bad guy, so you can
Makes sense.
take what you can from that.
Is there any other DC, CW news?
No, I didn't watch the Arrow one. I don't care.
You know,
don't even think
I
the
watch
fans
it.
care.
I watch it out of obligation for the show because I feel like I kind of want to like make sure everything. Well, not make sure, but see how everything kind of comes together. Hopefully, the Flashpoint Paradox changes some things. Maybe makes it a little better. I'm hoping. Question mark.
I think everybody is.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a thing too. Is that they're trying to
started off strong.
retcon some of the show, like
Yeah.
a little bit. Like they handled Black Canary poorly. I
Version
feel
of Black Canary.
all of them. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of excited for that. Again, I'm a big fan of Legends. I can't wait for second season. It's probably going to be exciting. I mean, the first show, I mean, it's not great, but it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that.
Did you do any of the Netflix for Marvel?
So that's where they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
shining. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Marvel,
Yeah.
speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
and Netflix, that's where, I mean,
Yeah.
That's
They're
what seems
hands
like
down like
all
if
the
you're gonna
rest of it.
compare TV shows like Marvel versus DC, I still think Marvel wins, as well as the movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just in terms of like the avenue that Netflix has. Like they're able to do a lot more. I don't know if they get a lot more money. Regardless
well, I know
of that,
They just have a head start. I feel like. I feel like I think Eric, you'd called it like over a year ago that they just. There's no way that DC is ever going to catch up to Marvel at this point. That like Marvel, started in was 08 or 09 or whatever with like Iron Man. Like they're just already on top of it. They already have this huge following. That whatever DC thinks they can do to catch up, it's only going to be through TV.
Marvel's already done it.
like TV, maybe they could catch up, but Marvel's just already there. It just already has it, and
Especially with DC not even finding a voice yet. Like their movies seem all over the place. They seem to be swayed so easily by what people say that how can you make your own brand when you're constantly changing what that brand is?
Yep.
So
I think they just seem to be fighting with Snyder.
Well, they kind of changed that now.
Yeah.
They introduced where they.
All the reshoots.
They announced a new chief creative officer, Jeff Jones.
Yeah, he's taking over
Yeah,
their
he's taking
film.
over their stuff.
Kind of like Kevin, was it Feige?
Feige.
Yeah,
Feige.
something like that.
Yeah.
careful.
But that guy though, Jones, he's been a fan for a long time. Yeah, he's been big. I think he's been part of the TV shows and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
he's championing the
Yeah.
series. So I'm
So, when did this happen?
like last week, like a week or two ago.
Because I want to segue if that can,
To movies?
if that's why the trailer for Justice League was actually pretty
A little
good.
bit lighter tones.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Marvel TV shows?
Oh yeah, Marvel. Luke Cage trailer.
Luke Cage trailer?
Awesome. What
great.
else came out?
Defenders. There was, I
Defenders.
mean,
Brief
really no.
Teaser.
The
Yeah.
teaser.
I didn't
there's-
see it.
there's
Billboard,
no-
Defenders billboard.
There's no
sizzle
footage.
reel or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
See it.
And there's
But,
a brief Iron Fist
Yeah. But,
trailer, teaser.
I looked on there and I think Drew Goddard, because I think with Netflix they're able to get, it's more cinematic
Yeah.
versus CW, which is
Supergirl.
TV. I mean, it's
They're
TV,
totally
the budget is TV. With Netflix, and we said we don't know the budgets, but they are able to get filmmakers. Like Drew Goddard was the one that started Daredevil, and he does film, TV, kind of all sorts of stuff. So he's taking a part. I read just recently that he's taking a part in the Defenders.
And
So-
I think it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago. They
Yeah.
increased the price of Netflix because they decided they want to do quality, more money to make more TV shows,
Yeah.
which is, fair price to pay.
I'll give him $1.
An extra $1 on top of
Why not?
unlimited streaming
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
But you look at like Stranger Things that just came out. That like everything they're making is quality. Like
Exactly.
I remember.
Remarkable.
Yeah, I don't watch
Take
that
that.
one.
Yeah, it's okay.
all right, I watched
But I mean, you look at like all this like original stuff of like everything from like Daredevil to like House of Cards. Like it's all good. It's all really quality stuff. That I think it's worth it at that point. That it's
To me, Netflix does something different when it comes. I think to Daredevil season 2. I've gotten so used to watching certain shows that whenever Punisher would come up, whenever a big fight would come up, I would think to myself, "Oh, it's just gonna see the smoke rise, and then it's gonna cut to him getting beat up." It's like, no, you get to see him fight 20 people, and see him get beat up, and to actually see that and to actually like know that like only Netflix gives you that. Like you're traumatized from other shows, knowing that we're gonna cut from the expensive action, we're gonna cut from this. They still do a pretty good job of explaining things. It's a good job of showing you what you really want to see. And Stranger Things is another one of that. They have characters that you haven't seen in a long time. I've watched a couple episodes already. I don't know how many episodes you guys are into. I'm into like 3 maybe.
finished it.
And I'm going to once I get home. But it's every time I met a new person, maybe they change later on. But every time I met a new person, I was thinking to myself, this person's going to be horrible for some reason. He's going to do something horrible. Like when that little girl met the guy from the diner. The whole time I thought he's going to rape her. He's going to do something horrible to her. But no, he's just a nice guy that and then something happened to him, and then
He never came back on the show again.
yeah, the incompetent cop who was like, I'm a drunk, and then it's like, oh no, actually I'm a detective. I actually figure things out. And it's like, wow, okay, that's cool. Like Netflix is showing you things that you haven't seen in a long time. So I'm really
They're
glad for
letting
that.
filmmakers and like these showrunners do their thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest difference. When you do have a network, they're thinking ad revenue. Netflix is like, we don't really need it. We just need
Yeah.
people to want our product.
Haven't they publicly stated that they don't really care about ratings?
Exactly.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and it helps because we
it's
get
easy to-
Stranger Things and stuff like that.
It's easy to say you don't care about ratings or money when you have both. When you-
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You have stuff to burn.
Exactly. Like,
we have all these piles of money. We're just paying taxes out the ass. Let's just make things so we can spend
Make a
money.
Luke Cage. I don't care.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever you want, Marvel, sure, yeah. So, speaking of
works.
DC, the new, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they get a later time slot, and they're trying, I guess, reflect the DC shows, the Marvel shows in there, having like a darker tone, introducing a new character, which at first I heard about, and I'm like, that's going to be awesome. And I thought about it, I'm like, they're going to ruin it. Ghost Rider.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. At first I was really excited, and I'm like, yeah, Ghost Rider, it's like, he's perfect. It's like a guy rides a motorcycle, his head's on fire, it's a skull, like, it writes itself. Come to find out, it's one of the newer incarnations of Ghost Rider.
I think Nick Cage should still play him.
I am totally down
And
with
I
that.
think it'd be the only thing I would save that show. At least for 3
The
or 4
season's
episodes.
they're getting a little better. A little better.
I haven't been able to get there to see that.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It is a struggle.
Bad.
They introduced Inhumans, which, again, I was really excited about because I like the Inhumans, but then,
There's no Inhumans.
yeah, there's no Inhumans.
Yeah.
There's no Inhumans.
So, I mean,
the whole premise
hopefully that makes it better. They're trying to go for like a little bit of darker tone of the TV show.
But how long can they keep trying to make it better?
Yeah.
Because that's the question that, I mean, and Disney
As
has
long as
money.
they have mouse money.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, so I'm saying Disney and Marvel have money, so they can just say, well, 4 million people's fine. That's
like
cool.
the
that's
Netflix
cool.
series
Yeah, it's like,
wrap
well,
their
like,
money up,
okay,
throw
our
money at it.
viewership's going down, but we're good. We're good and stuff. So with that show, I think it's almost like it's getting to the point where
Yeah.
how long can they drag it out and try to make it
I just
better?
don't see how you can go so right in so many places and just have this one thorn that you can't fix. Like, how can you keep looking at it and being like, what are we doing wrong? Like, you obviously know what you're doing wrong when everything else is exceeding, and you got this one property that is just there.
I still have hope. I want it to be good.
Yeah. With the whole
I really
premise of
like
the
Agent
show-
Coulson. I really like him a
Yeah,
lot.
he's a
a
good guy.
charming guy.
Yeah, it's a good character.
I want him to be on a good show.
But I feel like the premise of the show started on what's it like for normal human beings to
No.
how are they going to survive like in a world of superheroes?
They went up against 2 super villains, and it was done.
Yeah.
It was done, and then it was all a really crappy spy. It's a really crappy spy done thing, and
But he became an alien thing. And then they're trying, guys. They're trying.
And then they wanted to make the spin-off show with those 2 agents.
Which now
was that
I think it's canceled now, I believe.
okay?
good.
Because I know that
The Agent Carter one?
no, Agent Carter. It was
Okay, that was
That was
canceled.
okay.
That
it
was
was a
canceled.
spin-off of it was Mockingbird, Agent Mockingbird.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
her husband, boyfriend.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure, but I know that the woman that played Mockingbird, she's I know like within the past couple of days just signed for a new, I guess Seth
Rogan?
Green. Seth Green. McFarlane. Family Guy.
Seth MacFarlane.
McFarlane. Yeah. I guess he has a new like Fox like
Robot Chick-
sci-fi show.
Seth Green is Robot Chicken.
There's so many Seths. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess he has. Oh, Seth Rogen, Seth Green.
He's a white
Seth
guy.
MacFarlane. Yeah.
Lord of the
Funny.
Sith.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess he has like a new sci-fi Fox comedy, and she signed on to be in it. So pretty much is like her coming back to Shield is kind of not happening probably.
Yeah.
So
Good.
there's that. Anyway, I hope the show gets better. We'll see what happens. But Netflix is still awesome, so that'd be
I'm
cool.
not gonna die.
Yeah.
Did you see that trailer?
I was like, just waiting. All right, okay. So we've been talking DC Marvel shows, now movies. This is the big thing. So this is the Hall H stuff. And really what I saw was who won, DC or Marvel and all this stuff. And I think it's different for people who, it seems like we're at Comic-Con and weren't at Comic-Con. Because if you weren't at Comic-Con, DC pulled ahead because they released the trailers and footage and I mean Justice League is still filming and they managed to make I thought it was a good trailer. And Wonder Woman, that's kind of everyone seems to really like that trailer So I think as far as if you did not go to Comic-Con, you're like DC all the way. Like they gave us what we wanted, and we wanted to see. And they really, for them, they have to prove that things are gonna get better.
Right.
And that's the big thing.
catch up.
Exactly. So with the Who won, Marvel, I was starting to watch some of the panels, and they did a lot, but they didn't release it to people. I mean, really, the Doctor Strange trailer was the only one they released.
good.
But from what I heard,
Yeah, Doctor looks really good though.
yeah, I know. But from what I
looks
heard,
really strange.
they had a lot of things at their panel, and I give it to Marvel. Like they throw down every year, and I'm just
It
gonna
seems like all the stars are there.
exactly. And they did 4 movies, and DC did a lot too.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had Suicide Squad too, so they brought it all out.
I watched a lot of the interviews with the Suicide
yeah.
Squad. I'm on board.
Yeah.
They're
No.
look like
We'll watch it next
yeah,
Thursday.
looks fun.
I think that for Comic-Con, there was a little bit different. There was a different energy, maybe.
Oh, yeah, there's different vibes near there.
Because with Marvel, I know I watched about when they announced Brie Larson. That was, I would say, the biggest announcement was Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. With that, they go, Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. She comes out. They're all taking a photo. Everyone's screaming, and y'all are getting hats. And that's one way. Honestly, I turned off the YouTube clip and was like, well, I wasn't there, so I'm just gonna walk away now because.
Yeah, and then
Things like that get people excited.
Oh, yeah.
It's swag, it's free, but just stuff like that. And then they had Spider-Man clips. They had a lot of exclusive stuff. So I
clips
give
for
it to
Guardians of the
them.
Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians
Big
of the
announcements
Galaxy.
for Guardians of the Galaxy.
And they announced Ego,
yeah.
who is
Star-Lord's
father.
which
so-
I feel like should be a spoiler, but they're just like, no, we're just gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, because I mean, I thought it was a big thing,
It's
right?
kind of a
Like
big deal.
mystery.
Yeah, that was like the whole point of the first movie.
Yeah, this whole thing that they didn't mention in the first movie that they danced around. They're like, why not hold on to that? Especially you're gonna get like Kurt Russell to come in and play, but there was this weird twist that like,
Yeah.
so wait, it's a planet that's living, but then they
Sentient planet.
but then they have the clothes. He's
That grows
clearly
facial hair.
a human.
I hear the phrase, it's made of pure energy.
Yeah.
I hear that phrase. I feel like I hear that phrase. It's like, why can't he take this form? Because he's made of pure energy, and pure energy can take any form it wants.
Because comics.
Because comics.
Yeah.
Because pure
So-
energy.
Right.
Energy can't be created; it can only be transformed.
Yes.
But from what I heard, I wish I was at the Doctor Strange one because their setup. I mean,
Did they get hats?
They didn't get hats, but they did.
But they got
basically,
magic.
I think the lights went down, and then smoke appeared, and then the Doctor Strange logo appeared, and then Benedict Cumberbatch came out of the smoke. So they got the theatrics,
Right.
and I think that's definitely something. Like I was like, man, I wish I was there. But I am glad DC released, and DC has to prove that you guys were still going to do good. And the Justice League trailer was lighter. It wasn't like so gritty.
Kind of feel like they might be taking, and this is based off just watching that trailer. Watching the trailer once. They may be taking too much of the wrong things from Marvel. That Batman is
Like
a little.
Tony Stark.
That Batman is a
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
That,
Tony Stark's going around assembling his Avengers.
Right.
Basically, that's what that trailer was.
Quippy Batman, which
Yeah.
I'm not exactly on board with, but it looked good though. I mean,
Yeah.
Aquaman looks great.
Yeah, I think the Flash. See, I love
The
Ezra
Flash,
Miller.
the Flash stuff was good. Yeah.
I think he looks great, and he's quick and bantery, and that's how I like the Flash.
Right.
Andy watches Rick and Morty, so that's
Exactly. Yes.
There's that too.
So I think that they did well.
Right. And then even better than the Justice League one was the first Avenger Wonder Woman. That was an awesome trailer.
Yes, the first.
especially if you're a Zack Snyder fan and you like
Slow
slow mo,
motion.
fight scenes, yeah.
I think it looks good. My only thing was, I felt like they're trying to force the humor a little bit. The Chris Pine stuff didn't hit for me. Like I saw it and I was like, that looks cool. Everyone was freaking out. They're like, it looks awesome, and I was like, I think it looks good. I'm gonna wait to see.
She looks great. Like,
yeah,
the
no, she
costume
looks great.
Yeah, everything there.
There was those times where they kind of forced it, where it was a
Right.
bit too much of a pause, and then they kind of were like, "Look, we're funny too," and I'm like, "You guys don't need to do that."
Laugh.
I like serious. I think DC can be serious. I don't think they need to be funny. And that was, I think, one of the complaints with Batman. And there's a lot of complaints with
Right.
Batman versus, we all know, but. I don't think it needs to be that funny. I don't think
Exactly.
being too serious is a complaint.
Right.
So I hope that they do go with
And
a more
that's
serious
that's what I mean by
route.
say like I think they're taking the
Yeah.
wrong things away from
Yeah.
from criticism and from Marvel movies. Is
Exactly.
that all their characters need to be almost to a level of like self-referential and like kind of like wink at the camera a little bit. And I don't think they necessarily need to do that because I mean we have that already. We have Marvel movies that do that and they do successfully and
Yes.
it works.
Yeah.
And it's been working for years. Yeah,
A long
it's been working
time.
for a real
a long time.
now. But
I mean, even if you go back to Superman, whatever like he straight up like kills Jor-El like right on like snaps his neck like
Spoiler.
that's the level spoiler. Yeah, sorry, my bad for the movie that came out years ago. But that's the level of like seriousness of it of like that's what I'm saying like really that's like his first day
How
as
would you react to
Superman,
the
he
situation?
snaps the guy's neck. Like that's how serious these movies are gonna be. You don't need their own Tony Stark.
Yeah.
They don't need
just
like
need to be
that
good.
like humor.
And
Yeah.
if we're gonna go more funny DC, did you guys watch the Lego Batman trailer?
oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Because that's
Yeah.
where I'm like, all right, you guys can go totally a little whimsical. I was like, Lego Batman, throw
think
it
it
all
should
in
be
there.
super serious
I mean, I'm sure it will have its moments. But yeah, so I think that like that was a great trailer.
That was my favorite
so,
DC trailer they
No, it was
had.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that they can focus. They need to figure out what they're going to focus on, and it can be gritty. It can be serious. You don't need to be funny all the time. Let Lego Batman be funny.
I understand. Yeah.
And it will.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and it makes an amazing Batman. Well,
I guess those were the biggest ones, and those are the constant fans going back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, WB did lead off with superheroes because they wanted to say, look at what we got, look what we
Right.
got. But there were other stuff that came out. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find
yeah.
Them came out.
Looks good.
I feel like I consider myself a very, very big Harry Potter fan. But I'm not as excited for this one. I don't
It's all
know.
the same
I'm with her.
universe.
It is. It's just, I think maybe it's so weird to see an American, it's taking place in New York.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird to me.
But it's 1920s-ish New York.
It is. It's different.
Eddie Redmayne.
But it doesn't have Harry Potter in it, right?
But it has
Like-
Stephen Hawking.
It does have Stephen Hawking.
This takes place prior to what Harry Potter was,
Yeah,
right?
so this
Yeah.
is all one of the characters who wrote one of the books that they study. This is all this is stuff. I think they just release a bunch of monsters into New York and they have to go capture them. So I think it could be fun.
Monsters that you have to catch, eh?
Yeah,
Do you have to catch them all?
you
You
might.
have to catch them all. You must catch them all.
well, eating my data if I.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that one I thought looked good. I don't have any complaints as a Harry Potter fan. We'll see where it takes it. I know and J.K. Rowling's writing it. I think that's the most important.
Yeah.
If she's going to continue on, I'm going to see it. And then one thing that I know that is being set up and the Kong Skull Island movie. I wanted to bring that up because me and Richard saw Godzilla. I don't know how you feel a whole lot about the new Godzilla universe.
I like it.
I loved it.
See, I thought it was okay. I thought there was.
She said Pacific Rim. That's what she.
Yeah, that was.
It's
that
a
was,
great movie.
Same.
I feel like Pacific Rim was a great movie too, but it could have done more. Like I kind of,
love
I
Pacific
kind of don't
Rim.
want to see.
How dare you?
Exactly.
I don't want to see the
Thank you.
movie. I don't want to see the movie we saw. I want to see the movie that's the first 5 minutes.
Right.
Of like, oh, these things are attacking us. We got to create new things. We got to go. Like, I want to see that movie versus what we saw. You know, we missed something really cool. And Godzilla.
Oh yeah, every time something cool is about to happen, it would.
Cut. That was like the TV budget. Like they were like, we don't have enough money, so just cut.
But for the very end, not
saving it for the end.
Not sure if you guys knew the original Godzilla from Japan, but
Yeah.
this King Kong.
It's from Japan?
I thought it was from,
I meant the original.
Gojira.
I meant to say the
Roland
original
Rich.
King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
This, if you see the trailer, the small pieces they show, it does resemble the King Kong that they made into a suit. It has that shaggy red fur looking to it, and it's that size, that lanky, that weird proportions that not really doesn't look. It's not going to look like a gorilla. It's not going to look like what we're supposed to look at. So I'm not sure how off-putting that's going to be because it really doesn't. To me, it appears like it's not going to look like a gorilla at all.
The gorilla in Kong?
The one that's going to come in the new one, it's not going to look like a real gorilla.
You just see like a
Pretty gigantic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be
it's gonna be.
huge.
I think it's just gonna be a giant,
It's
like
gonna be a
primate,
giant,
like a giant.
But are they building to a Godzilla versus?
Godzilla
so they,
King Kong,
they're
isn't it?
making
both
a whole
legendary.
universe.
So it's,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in the same universe.
Yes.
Same universe.
Which is the same trailer. I feel like
Got
it's the
it.
exact same trailer. That's my thing. It's
Yeah.
like, it's very Godzilla, and then they just went, we'll just put a giant monkey. So it's Godzilla as King Kong.
that. Low-key.
Same
So
trailer.
if this is really the same world as the one that just dealt with Godzilla, that like, if this is the same world, we were just gonna like as soon as you see something, just start dropping nukes on it. Like there's going to be no
nothing.
right.
What
Like,
did you learn from Godzilla?
They eat that.
I just wanted Monster Island. The straight up monsters.
Monster Island,
Yeah.
yeah. And they could set up Skull Island as Monster Island. It's kind of like what
I
they're
mean, I think that's what they're doing
Yeah.
because there
And-
seems to be a lot more going on.
When does it come out?
You know what? I'm not too sure
believe
on
it comes
the
out in the
release
summer.
date.
This year?
No,
Next year.
yeah. But they have announced that, or they are saying that it's going to be Godzilla versus King Kong.
They're leading up. Yeah.
The third
They
one.
want a whole monster universe, like a whole. Well,
Well, who doesn't want to?
Yeah. Well, we're hitting them with all of the like Frankenstein, all of them. Aren't they gonna start fighting each other soon?
yeah, Universal's starting to.
Yeah, hold on.
I think who got cast? Somebody. They've been casting for Frankenstein.
I haven't been impressed with any remake they've done so far. They can't capture that magic they had.
Yeah, that's-
You can't. I feel like when it comes to those old stories, you can't do that anymore.
Right.
You have too many things that you have to throw into a story to make it marketable now.
Right.
You have to add characters that have no idea being there. Actually, I would say Wolfman was pretty good with.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, that was pretty decent. That was
I
a
didn't
pretty
see that
decent
one.
looking Wolfman. I like how they pretty much just updated the original story, the original outfit, the original look to the werewolf, and that's kind of like I appreciate that. But so yeah, versus though it's I feel like they can't make that. Like I don't feel they don't
making
have
like a
anything
shared
anymore.
universe of all the Universal
Yeah.
monsters seems. I don't know.
I think everyone's trying to go for that
Yeah.
that shared universe so they can do like the MCU. Like everything is like we got to have our own so we can just branch off.
it's going to be the Monster Squad sequel. That's all I'm waiting for.
I
Or
that
a
one?
reboot? Would you be? How mad would you be if they did a remake of Monster Squad?
You know,
And they were all women.
Well, I see how horribly I can see how horribly the
Ruining my
reboot
childhood.
for Big Trouble in Little China is going. You know, like so I can only imagine what Monster Squad's gonna look like.
like they were actually to do a reboot. If the people that made Stranger Things made it, I would be on board. I think that they would keep it at the right.
That was the
theme.
only reason I passed it on Netflix because as soon as I saw that thing, I was like, "That's Monster Squad ripoff." And then I realized people were talking about it. I was like, you know, this is like Monster Squad, but not like a ripoff, but more like very nostalgic about it. I love these kids. The kids were the best part of that.
Well, yeah, you go look at like what they're doing. Like it's 100% what kids were doing in that time. That I don't even know what is it.
the
like
reaction.
The 80s?
The reaction is 100% what kids would do.
Yeah, but is that like the
something's
70s or the 80s? Like what was the time period? Do you guys know? Yeah, but it's like a bunch of kids running around like on their bikes. Like you know that there wasn't. The parents just kind of gave them that freedom to just be like, be home before dark or whatever. Then they just kind of did their own thing. That like I mean we're all kind of the same age. I feel like we might have had that similar upbringing. But like you go look at like with kids today, whatever. Like they're so connected, cell phones, things like that. That like if anything was to go wrong or whatever, that'd be the first thing. They'd be pulling out the phone or whatever. And so for kids to actually be having to tackle these problems, like we're just gonna do it. We're gonna go find our friend who's missing.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't really have that I think anymore. Yeah, exactly.
It begin with let's call Uber.
Yeah,
Let's go
exactly.
try to find our friend.
But and then the one I wanted to bring up because this wasn't well received. I don't know if you guys watched the King Arthur trailer. It's from Guy Ritchie. I personally thought it was a really weird movie, kind of a weird mashup of styles.
It's
but
kind of Richie.
It's and then that one I guess was really not received well, lukewarm. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. All I can think of is Jax.
Charlie
from
Hunnam?
Yes, Charlie Hunnam. All I can think is Jax from Sons of Anarchy. I don't know what his real accent is, and
He doesn't know it.
I worry for him because the way that he talks is just really weird. And he is British, but he's not British anymore.
I think he's Australian.
No, he's British.
He's British.
He's British, but he's not British. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that one up because that
I'll
one.
still watch it. Redbox.
Redbox,
Yeah.
Redbox, maybe Netflix eventually when it gets down there. But I know that going into the losers of Comic-Con, you wanted to
Me.
bring up the Killing Joke, Matt,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that one was there's a little controversy on that one.
I mean, I don't know as much as maybe some of the people at the table here know about the Killing Joke and the original story and things like that. But I know that like there are people really, really looking forward to this movie, to seeing this. We keep talking about things being dark and staying away from the lightheartedness or whatever. So like for them to make a movie out of this like really dark story, where the spoiler, the Joker finds vulnerability in Batman, that like people were looking forward to it. But it is a shorter story. Right, I mean, is
It is like a single. I mean, it's a single graphic novel. Yeah, it is a really dark story, and the ending. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, the cartoon yet, but I've read the book a couple times. I mean, I read the novel a couple times. The ending it was like you could be interpreted many different ways, and I'm not sure how they ended it in the cartoon. But I'm pretty sure there has been a bit of controversy about the way they ended it. I've heard it's been rushed. I heard several things about the ending, but
Well, even how it was started.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
saw,
not
like
just the ending; it's the 30 minutes before.
yeah,
Also that too.
they said literally the first 29 minutes of the movie you didn't need to see. That it was all fluff. This whole introduction of the side story of Batgirl. That like it was all unnecessary. That it wasn't. Oh, we're gonna take this unique twist on it. Whatever.
Yeah.
It was just fluff to pad the overall running time.
Yeah, and originally they had introduced it as, okay, it's going to be really short, so we need to get something more. Great, this is a perfect time to get Batgirl and then put her out in the forefront and give her a story because she doesn't normally get the spotlight. What they did, from what I read, I haven't seen it, but from what I read and clips that I've seen, is they essentially padded it up with her and Batman, all leading up to, I don't know if this is a spoiler for the story, but her and Batman like sleeping together. Like, so, I mean, that's 30 minutes leading up to her and Batman hooking up. So people were saying that, really what does that give her? What does that show on her side of the story? It's just still about her relationships. And that's the common problem with women.
Yeah.
So you're just going, well, she has this relationship with Batman. Let's give her 30 minutes to build that up. And then it just becomes a little misogynistic.
Well, what I hear is because they premiered it at Comic-Con and
Yeah.
they had a panel afterward,
Yeah.
and apparently things fell apart
Yeah.
in it. That there wasn't a lot of things that I really wish that I could have gone, but like I feel like this would have been awesome to watch, just to see this. Like you have all of these hardcore fans that are all there for the story, and then to be like, what the hell, man? Like that's what you made, like and then for the people that are up there, we're like, look at this thing we made for you, you're gonna love it, and then to get that response of like, well, what do you mean you don't love it?
Immediate negative backlash.
Yes, so it's like both of these people coming at each other, and it's super fans, nerds aren't maybe the most tactful people around, and so to be in that situation and to see how it fell apart, I don't know.
To me, you're taking a story that is like sensitive, a story where the whole point is the brutalization of this woman, and to me, to do it right and do it tactful, you'd have to basically make her the most heroic thing that there is, not just another girl who sleeps with Batman prior to getting, and I'm not sure how the movie did it. The movie might have messed it up quite a bit, but I know in the comic book, they don't tell you whether or not she was legitly raped or just tortured. And a lot of people would like to think it's just tortured.
Yeah,
the movie could have gotten really horrible if they don't leave that guessing. And that's talking about taking a real big step forward with Wonder Woman and then a crippling shot back with Batgirl.
Oh man, that was
Glad you got that one.
oh man.
Glad you guys got that one. I was hoping someone would get it. She's crippled.
Yeah, I got it.
She was shocked.
Yeah, she was. I got that. I did read that spoiler. I kept going.
But I mean, I'll be honest. It's not my favorite story. I feel like there's a lot better stories they could have done and made short of. And I know people like it. I mean, I know it's like one of the highest selling graphic novels of all times. Like that one, Kingdom Come, Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns. These like just sell it constantly. Like everyone has them on their shelves no matter what. And it's one of those top books. So it can make sense that they would make a short movie out of it. Personally for myself, it's not one of my favorite stories. Yeah. But I mean, I'll check it out when it comes out and see what I think.
I was kind of excited for it, but like I said, it's a sensitive story, sensitive thing, and it's really hard to do it. And it sounds like if anyone's that mad at Comic-Con, if the whole room's that mad, they didn't do it right. Period.
Something went wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the first R-rated animated film, right?
From DC. DC, yeah.
I think so, yeah. So I mean that might show them what they need to take a step back and go, okay, we're trying to prove that we are doing too gritty. So finding a balance. Like
you got Mark Hamill, which is cool.
And the voice cast, they got the voice cast.
The voice cast, right?
Like it's Kevin Conroy as Batman. So they they have the voice cast. They have all the people.
Yeah, those two people, like Tara Strong as Harley Quinn, whatever. Like you throw like them in there from the the cartoon series, like that's all that I need to already like you've got my attention. Like you've got my nostalgia for Batman the Animated Series. I'll watch the story, but it's kind of yours to to lose at that point.
And this would have been nice, maybe, and again, this all goes to partnerships, but really they padded it out for 30 minutes so they could sell it as a DVD, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It would be nice maybe if it was like a Netflix exclusive or a streaming site exclusive, because then they could do 45 minutes.
So then what was the TRT then, I wonder? Like, what was too short? Like,
Well, I read it was 45 minutes for the actual story. And then to get to movie length, which is 90 minutes, they wanted to pad it out with the Batgirl story.
Couldn't have like a
just-
musical or something?
yeah.
There are plenty of ways to pad out a film.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that it would have been nice if they thought of 45
See the
minutes.
extended cut of
Batman
Batman Superman, which is yeah.
I still need to watch it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Well, so so we're coming up on time here, but so tomorrow, so I'm gonna go check out Star Trek at the new Barco Theater out in
Okay,
Clovis. Yeah. So it's got 2 additional screens, on the left and the right, so they kind of come out, but only 20 minutes of the whole movie is actually shot for those.
Yep.
So it's gonna be kind of an interesting experience just to see this one space battle.
And then it
for
goes
20
back to one
minutes.
screen.
Well, so I think that I don't know how they transition, how that works, but it'll be something
I think
kind of unique.
because basically you have, because I've gone there with that when they have it in Sierra Vista, that theater, they just cover it with curtains. So
So it literally like
so like there's just screens on the side, and I always wondered what it was.
Yeah.
And then I guess Maze Runner, the second Maze Runner was the first
Scorcher
movie.
Trials?
Yeah, it was first movie to be filmed in the Barco Escape format. So it just moves in the screens, and then I don't think they would. I highly doubt if they would move out. Maybe it's like IMAX.
That seems really
Kinda,
distracting.
like
Yeah.
where it just changes and then goes straight back.
I've been to a theater
Yeah.
in San Jose that was like a half of a dome, so
Yeah.
it like wraps around you.
Yeah.
I kind of get that, but this is like literally like that letterbox format.
Yep.
It just comes out 2 more panels on the left and right, so it's gonna be kind of an interesting experience. But how cool is that for something like it's one of like 20 or 30 in the world?
There's only like 15 in the
Or there you
nation,
go,
16 in the nation, and one of them's in Clovis.
So is it permanent or is it
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to
it's too
see.
expensive to make it temporary?
Yeah, but you look at like even like so
surprised.
IMAX and 3D and all that. That like there's all these like post conversions. Like
Yeah.
you think that's going to be something that people are going to do now? They're going to have a Barco conversion or Barco scenes or
What I imagine they could do, and this is going off of Hall H actually, is when they've done presentations, they've had the main screen, and then on the side they do graphics. And it might not necessarily be like the movie, but if scenes are not filmed in it, it's just filled in. So it's filled in, like I remember my favorite panels ever was Pacific Rim, because I ended up loving the movie. But they did the main Pacific Rim footage, and then on the sides was like graphics of the Jaegers and just like things that make it more interesting to fill it out. I could see them doing, or at least in Star Trek,
Kitty's
like
playing.
space and stuff like that, or like having asteroids or however the planet. I could totally see, and especially when James Cameron always creating new things. You could just have little Pandoras on the side or something like that. So I could see them definitely doing things like that.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for tuning into our Comic-Con
Episode?
special, whatever you're gonna call it. Yeah. I don't know. ZapCon's coming up in a couple months, so maybe we can talk a little bit about the local cons and compare the two. And so
You
all
can
right.
catch us at...
Oh yeah, we should probably tell people where to. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
NoTownNerds.com is our website. Hopefully, still we'll have to go brush off the cobwebs on that. We're No Town Nerds on Twitter and iTunes and Facebook. You can go and like us and get all this info and and you can email any questions or complaints or to notownnerds@gmail.com.